Alright. Welcome, everybody. Give me 1 second. Alright. Welcome to. I'm going to just go over news. So, we're actually going to get back to this a little later. But this is really important. So, I'm going to keep this headline up for you for a second. There's a lot of news. So, I haven't done news stuff in a long time. I actually was going to do something a lot more important and educational, but then I realized I didn't have enough knowledge to do what it deserves, I suppose. So if you're interested, you should look up Stackleberg games and stuff like that. So I put this link up if you want to check it out. So this stuff that I'm going to talk about next week, I thought I knew enough about it, and then as I was kind of digging into it, I didn't want to do it a disservice before I did it holistically. Okay, all right. So before we even get into any of this, all right, we're gonna start talking about. So everyone knows Binance was allegedly hacked. I'm not buying it. Maybe that might have been hacked. I don't know. Don't know. Don't care. But something happened. There was Bitcoin taken. I guess a lot of other altcoins too. Bitcoin as BSV, obviously unaffected since Binance decided to delist it. So, and then play a lot of political games, which we'll talk about also. So that happened yesterday, I think. They allegedly got hacked, and 7,000 BTC, I guess the equivalent of that, was stolen, right? Oh, stolen. I'm not going to make any accusations I can't back, but yeah, I'm sure it was stolen. All right, so now everyone's like, whoa, a lot of crazy stuff going on. People even talking about reorging the BTC chain to recover the BTC, right? Now, the thing is, everyone acts so surprised. Everyone was very surprised as of yesterday. What was going on? Like people in Bitcoin Cash, people in BTC. Everyone was like, "Whoa! Like this is all crazy." But it's crazy because like the weird thing is, none of them. I don't see what the problem is if Binance wanted to reorg the chain, because this is what they want. I mean, this is what the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem wants. So they want what's called. So actually, I have this tweet up from Vin Armani. This is a perfect example of this. I think this is still pinned at the top of his Twitter feed. So this is what he said prior to the November hash war in Bitcoin Cash. November 15th isn't a BCH hash war. It's a war for the hearts and minds of exchanges. If an exchange is only running nodes of a particular implementation, say ABC, depositing coins mined from SV post-split Coinbase will be impossible. Chain unfollowed by exchanges equals worthless. Hashtag exchanges choose. Hashtag exchanges choice. So this is what they want, right? This is actually what everyone wants. That they want exchanges to actually be part of the governance process of a blockchain. So I don't know why people were so shocked when they saw CZ talking about potentially reorganizing. So actually, let's listen to that first. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
We are completely okay on the funding side. It does hurt very much, but we are able to cover that. So we do not need the funding help. We have been working with other exchanges to block deposits from those hacked addresses. There's the other topic of, do we want to issue a rollback on the Bitcoin network? Because right now the 7,000 BTC is far higher than if we distribute that to miners. it will be far higher than the what they got paid for the last few blocks. To be honest, we can actually do this probably within the next few days. But there are concerns about if we do a rollback on Bitcoin network at that scale, it may have some negative consequences in terms of credibility for destroying credibility for Bitcoin. So again, the team's still deciding that, and we're running through the numbers and checking everything. So I think throughout this instant, we will try to maintain very high transparency. And we will just we will solicit community help. So the reorg is an idea that came from the community. I actually did not know that we could do that, but there are serious consequences for doing that. So we will take that very cautiously. So I think the biggest thing is I do want to beg people to forgive us in terms of not being able to withdraw.
Coinspice.
All right, so a lot in there, but maybe the first thing to talk about, so I guess people that maybe joined that you don't know what's going on. So CZ was talking about reorging or essentially rolling back the chain to recover lost BTC. Now, here's the thing: no one in Bitcoin Cash. No one in BTC, no one really in the wider cryptocurrency ecosystem actually want anything new. They want this new oligarchy of exchanges and influencers and, whatever the hell influencers means. This is what they all want, essentially, okay? They want exchanges to be part of the governance process. None of these people actually believe in Bitcoin. None of them actually believe in Bitcoin as a governance system. Everyone, they love to talk about how Bitcoin solved the Byzantine generals problem. And then look at this. I mean, look at this tweet. Look at this tweet, favored by BC8. I mean, Don Wonton, right? Plenty of people you might recognize, Manjarian, Jonathan. So these people want this. They're all like cheering this on, okay? They want exchanges actually part of the governance process. I don't think any of them could actually, if the chain was rolled back, could stand on a leg. And actually the ironic part, again, so checksum, good old checksum. As a Bitcoin miner to CZ Binance, over my dead body, you are the threat here. Delete Binance. So none of these people actually had a problem when Binance was playing the governance role, okay? None of these people really have morals. They don't really have what's the word I'm looking for? Not morals. I don't know. Maybe morals. In ideology, they all just kind of do whatever they're feeling. And this is even more fathomed again by CZ Binance tweeting. Also, thanks to Coinbase and many other exchanges pledging to block deposits from those addresses, then referencing the alleged hack addresses. Much appreciated. Also much appreciate the unitedness of our industry to fight hackers and fraud. This is interesting, right? Because to the code is law world, this doesn't sound right. And again, because I mean, the takes on some of these people are so dumb. They're so dumb. So Vin Armani tweeted about this, actually. I saw this just when I was trying to find his exchanges tweet. I mean, all right, again, let's just walk through this logic. So the most interesting thing to watch on the Binance hack is going to be how they handle the blacklisting of the stolen coins. The BSV community, I love how they call anything a community, who thinks tracking everything means something, should especially take note of the following scenarios. Obviously, they can't just do an address-based blacklist. That's incredibly ineffective because it's trivial to move coins between addresses, splitting and rejoining them many times so you have brand new addresses and UTXOs. The only legitimate blacklist is tainted UTXOs, a concept that's been talked about for years. Problem there is one of scope. How many child generations are considered tainted? Is there an amount threshold at which the taint kicks in? Who makes the tools? If the child UTXOs of the stolen coins are forever tainted, if I'm the hackers, I'm sending dust to every active BTC address holding a UTXO and every address receiving newly mined Coinbase. This potentially could taint almost every new transactions, as wallets consolidate inputs. If all child transactions are tainted, this could make a huge percentage of existing coins, including Satoshis, unacceptable to exchanges. In order to be effective, the tools will need to be built into every BTC wallet, including the core full node wallet. Huge problem. All right, so again, a few things to unpack here. We'll start with the obvious. I guess we'll start with the first three things. So this is the problem with code is law. This is the entire problem with the crypto anarchy position that code is law, or that you can get rid of law. So all these things are actually covered in existing law, believe it or not. So none of this is actually new. Blood diamonds, right? Those can be confiscated. All money can be confiscated for any reason. Do you guys understand this? I mean, this isn't a complicated issue. This is actually normal stuff. So everyone thinks Bitcoin is different. This is all fine and dandy. This is all normal. So, for example, a perfect example, this would be like if cash is stolen and given to you as a gift. So maybe like the equivalent of sending dust to transactions. That's actually not your money under law. So you actually can't spend that money under law. Do you understand this? So starting with this original thing, the BSV community who thinks tracking everything means something should take. I mean, this is so stupid because he's not. It doesn't. Again, maybe he's like trying to twist what people are actually saying. And to be fair, I don't think anyone understands what what anyone's been saying. I think they just take ideologies and then they run with it. No, we're not saying that. In fact, we're saying the exact opposite. We're arguing that Bitcoin is pretty fungible because of these reasons. It's actually pretty fungible because the cost to track Bitcoin is it's an economic game essentially. If I'm a high target, then you're probably going to spend a lot of resources to track my Bitcoins. But if I'm someone that's not a high value target, it's going to be really expensive to track me. And so the fungibility comes just at scale. And it becomes an economic game essentially of do I need to be tracked here? And in the case of this, I'm sure there is a quite a big incentive to catch whoever hacked this Binance BTC. And in fact, if I was Binance, I would have an incentive to build this tool and catch the people who did this. Now, I wonder if they're going to do that. I'm gonna guess not, because I don't think this hack was anything. I think this hack, there's a lot more to this hack than a simple they hacked people. Then I'll address this last one here. If all child transactions are tainted, this could make a huge percent of existing coins unacceptable to exchanges. You see, this is where it always comes back to. All these people care about are exchanges. I'm not going to generalize here because, again, I was referencing Vin's other tweet about how exchanges choose everything. It's really quite simple. These people don't want a money like Bitcoin. That's not what they want. Bitcoin happened to be the best at what it was. And then when certain individuals found out what Bitcoin actually was, which is just a tool that is, in fact, very easily tracked. It's again, I just covered that. Not really easily tracked, but it's a tool that exists within law and regulation. And if you watched Roger Ver the other day, none of these things are at odds with each other. It's okay to hate law. But I'm just saying this is what Bitcoin is. It's what Bitcoin always was. And a lot of people just don't like Bitcoin. They want something other than Bitcoin. And that's the real problem. So now, of course, the focus is no longer on Bitcoin. It's on peer-to-peer cash for the Bitcoin Cash folks. Because they don't actually like Bitcoin. They actually don't like the ideas of Bitcoin. They want something a little bit different. They want anonymity. They want all these other things built into the system that Bitcoin isn't. And that's unfortunate for them. And the reason why they need exchanges for that reason is because they want this new paradigm, this new oligarchy of well, exchanges are actually going to govern the money supply. They're actually going to govern, well, Bitcoin SV isn't a real project because it's not listed on exchanges. Of course, it's like the logic there, of course, somehow makes sense, right? And the reality is that they want to replace the current system with a new oligarchic system run by Brian Armstrong, CZ, and, Blockstream, essentially Blockstream, of course, running Bitfinex and pledging for Bitfinex. Sorry, I kind of went a little off the rails here, back and forth. I hope that was a little coherent. But I wanted to mention this one as well, because this, again, plays into my entire thing here. So after speaking with various parties, including, blah, 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 including Jihan Wu, we decided not to pursue the reorg approach. And then he talks about the pros and the cons of doing so. Now, this is so funny because the pros, so I'll read these. The pros, we could revenge the hackers by moving the fees to miners. Oh, of course. We could deter future hacking attempts in the process. We could explore the possibility of how Bitcoin network would deal with situations like these. So that's a pro, is that we're going to, fuck with the money supply to just see how, it deals with it, right? And then there's 4 cons listed. We may damage the credibility of BTC. Wow. Remarkable it took you that long. We may cause a split in both the Bitcoin network and community. Both of these damages seems to outweigh $40 million revenge. And just so we're clear, who is we? I don't really care if Binance loses money. I mean, really. Why do I care? Even if I was a BTC holder, why would I care about Binance getting their $40 million back? You realize how ridiculous that is? I don't care about revenge. Of course, if you're a community, then maybe you would care. And then this last one, or the second last one, the hackers did demonstrate certain weak points in our design and user confusion that was not obvious before. I don't know, that's a con. While it was a very expensive lesson for us, it is nevertheless a lesson. It was our responsibility to safeguard user funds. We should own up to it. We will learn and improve. Yeah, that's the best one you have there, buddy. Because that's the entire point of Bitcoin, is to not have crony capitalism and not bail banks out and not bail people out. Okay, this is the entire point of Bitcoin. And the entire irony of people taking exchanges seriously, that exchanges are anything more than casinos that want power. That's all they want. They want power over the governance structure of systems, of money, really. They want power over money. This is, again, something we've talked about many times on this show. That's all they are. And that's why you have people like CZ the day before this hack. Again, I'm going to put hack. I hope every time I say the word hack, put that in quotes, okay? What did he say the other day? I mean, this is the funniest thing I've seen in my life. Let's see. Oh, man, so much tweeting. Binance. Yeah, here it is. Also, here he is talking about Craig Wright and legal fees and all that kind of stuff. Make a charity, right? And then he says the best part. He's going to donate $10,000 of BNB to start off. I mean, these people are frauds. They just are trying to make a quick... Holy crap, man. This guy's own cryptocurrency. What is the point of BNB? Can anyone tell me that Bitcoin doesn't accomplish? And the people that don't speak out about this are complicit in all this. People like Roger Ver. And this is the sad part. I don't love Roger. I like Roger. I think he's a good guy. I think he's very misguided in a few things, but I think he's a great guy. Why are you supporting this guy? Why are we supporting BNB coin? Seriously. I mean, really. Why are we supporting BNB coin if we actually care about Bitcoin? Oh, That's right, because no one actually cares about Bitcoin. None of these people actually care about Bitcoin at all. All right, so let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to show. I mean, I don't. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Not important. Whatever. We'll move on. So, in other news, if you haven't been following, we're going to talk a little bit about the Craig Wright court case. Okay. So let me pull that up here. So this is courtlistener.com. I'll pull it over. And you can actually go here and read everything. I mean, most of the stuff. There's a lot of stuff on here that you can't read. I don't know how legal this is, but I would say I would pay so many microtransactions if someone could make these documents available for microtransactions, and I don't have to make a Pacer account. Just want to let everyone know that. Now, don't do that because it would be illegal. But I'm just talking about, again, another business model. Well, I don't know if it's illegal, actually. You can look into that yourself. But another business model for Bitcoin. Okay, so there's all these documents. A lot of this stuff I don't really need to bring up. I actually haven't read a lot of these here. So this is something that came up recently, which is that WizSec, I think. I mean, can we just talk about how sick it is that we're just all invading these guys' privacy, which, is fine. Everyone loves to invade privacy these days, right? So WizSec published, so this is really interesting. So I'm going to give you guys a lot of information here, okay? There's a lot of information here I'm about to give you, okay? And I'm going to make some claims that I'm not going to prove to you. I'm just going to make some claims, okay? So WizSec published this piece, and they reference this document, essentially, which is where Craig says that these are the addresses that he's willing to, disclose that he owns, essentially. Now, this was redacted by the court, okay? This was redacted by the court. This wasn't redacted by, that's the way court works, okay? So this was released redacted, all right? Now, WizSec comes in, and they go, oh, guys, we figured out, we've done forensic analysis, I think is what they said. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. They unredacted it, okay? Now, they've pretty much figured out that the addresses you listed corresponded with the first 70 blocks on the blockchain. Okay, so if you actually go, you can see they pretty much match the addresses over, so basically, in this filing, Craig claims to have the Bitcoin of these first 70 blocks. That was moved into a trust that then I think in the thing he argues that it would be unduly burdensome to figure out what all the addresses are after that. But basically, he can prove that he owns these addresses. Okay. Now if we open up these addresses, so I'm sorry guys, I should have been a little bit more prepared for you, but bear with me. So I can't copy and paste this stuff, unfortunately, but that's okay. Bear with me for a second. Can anyone, if anyone has a quick link to get to these first, I want to pull up these addresses on Blocksport. I just don't have to type them out. I know I can go to like these things and count backwards, but if anyone has a quick address for me to, I do not know who Andrew DeSantis is. People keep asking me to interview him or something. I don't know who he is, so if anyone wants to tell me who he is, that'd be great. Otherwise, yeah. All right. First block. Damn. All right, I'm going to have to really type this out, aren't you guys? All right. Bear with me for a second. Just talk amongst yourselves, okay? Let's see if I did it right, guys. Of course I didn't. Never, ever am I going to type these things right on the first try, are you? That would be silly. Let me just double check this here. I see what I did. Ta-da. All right. Beautiful. All right. So as we can see here, this is one of the addresses. So this actually is address 57. So this is the 57 block reward address. Okay. Now here's the problem. Okay. None of the Bitcoin has been moved. This is interesting, right? Anyone else thinks it's interesting? Because in the same court document, Craig Wright talks about let me just reread this. Sorry, I want to make sure I don't misspeak here. All right, so actually I misread this. So I actually thought what this originally had said was that he had transferred all these Bitcoins to a trust. But he's saying, I don't know, he's just saying all of his Bitcoins were moved to a trust or something. Whatever. Not important. None of this is important. Not really the point at all. I'm trying to get at, as you can see here, addresses still hadn't been spent. And basically he just talked about how he, WizSec comes in and pretty much argues, look at that, they mine the first 70 blocks. Now, a little bit more interesting than that, people, is this was referenced by a website called AMB Crypto. Okay. Now listen. Now read this paragraph. The redacted list of addresses provided by Wright is of particular interest to the community since, according to the WizSec Bitcoin Security Specialist blog, Wright's Bitcoin addresses presented to the court were simply a copy-paste job. See, and again, the blog post is pretty stupid. But interestingly, the author of the blog post claimed that the person who tipped him off about the similarity was Greg Maxwell, CTO of Blockstream. He is not the CTO anymore. Anyone catching on yet? Everyone remember the contrarian business from not too long ago? We found out who contrarian was. He's Greg Maxwell. So contrarian has actually been getting access to documents prior to them being publicly available. Now, remember what I told you. This document was sealed by the court. So this means it would be sealed even from IRA, for example, as the plaintiff. Huh. Interesting. But Greg Maxwell figured it out, didn't he? So anyway, on a somewhat unrelated note, I'm going to talk about this article that I wrote about 3 months ago. Okay? I actually didn't reference it that much. Pretty much just released it, didn't really talk about it, which I kind of regret. But I didn't want to. I thought it just stood on its own. I didn't really want to talk about it much more. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to make an accusation that I couldn't prove. Okay, so this title actually is a factual statement. I didn't want to say anything that I couldn't prove. I still can't prove things, so I'm not going to make any accusations I can't prove. However, basically what I outline in this piece, if you haven't read it yet, is basically you can actually find out, and this is all, public. Some of this not necessarily public, but you could get a hold of these documents if you really were trying. Basically, there's three things that come up. Okay, so basically, Craig Wright was dealing with the ATO as far back as the 2009 tax season. He was working with the ATO to properly report tax on his Bitcoin businesses, starting even in 2009. And basically, questions were raised about how they handled the various audits of Craig's companies, and specifically, there was forensic analysis done, 3 separate actual forensic reports that were done to show that the documents that were used as evidence against Wright were altered. Now, were they altered by the ATO? I of course cannot prove that. However, I definitely can prove that there are emails that they claimed came from Craig that were altered on servers that were very insecure on the ATO's network. And that's all in the forensic report, so you can all read all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's all in here. Screenshots of them, at least, of the report. And I'm gonna make something very clear. I would love to talk to any kind of real journalist about any of this stuff. I'm pretty much not a journalist. I'm really just someone who's interested in things. And I also do not like people that just say stuff without actually looking into things. So Craig Wright undeniably, again, I don't want to make an accusation I can't prove. That would be not good for me. Craig Wright battled with the ATO, and there are a lot of questions that are raised as to how they handled it, and questions that are raised as to the legality of how certain things were handled. I'll put it that way. And see, I don't even want to talk about this more, because if I talk about this, I'm going to be tempted to say things that are not. I can't. That I'm not willing to go to court over. So I'll leave it at. Maybe I'll just mention you should read this. So if you haven't read this, you should read this, because I think this is going to come into play very soon. And I think it's coming to play. This concept is going to come into play very soon as this court case becomes more and more at a head. Okay. Boy. I'm sorry. I started. I thought I should talk about this, and I really. What I want to say with this, I'm just going to wait until it all happens, I guess, and then we can all talk about the craziness of it, and we'll leave it at that. But I will just say, I think it's worth investigating Mr. Contrarian and his history with the ATO. Greg Maxwell has publicly stated that he was willing to work with the ATO on a lot of things. How did Wired get some of these documents would be a very good question. Has anyone figured that out, actually? How did Wired get some of these documents? Does anyone know? Ian Grigg. So actually, if you read his story about everything, he seems to imply that the person that was hacking and extorting Craig worked with the Australian tax office to get documents out to Wired and Gizmodo. Isn't that interesting? So someone very on the inside of this stuff, Very interesting. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little disheveled today. I need to get back, and I've just been very busy. But I need to. I was going to do this Stackelberg stuff, but again, I didn't want to half-ass it. So I will be back with that next week. I have a few other things I have planned to do. Just things have been really busy. I'm not going to be at the CoinGeek conference, unfortunately. Very bummed about that. So we will not be able to do interviews there. Again, really, really, really bummed out about that. I was really looking forward to that, but something else has come up, and I will not be attending. Nice thing to mention, I will actually be speaking at a conference in Bogota, Colombia. So I will put some information out about that soon. But if you're in Colombia, let me know. And that's I think it might be all I have. Honestly, I don't know how long I've been going here. I don't even know how long I've been going. Let's see, 35 minutes. I will open it up to any questions. If anyone wants to come on this show, let me know. Andrew DeSantis, I don't know who this guy is. I mean, is there a Twitter link for this guy? I honestly don't even know who he is. So I tried searching for him, I think, when someone mentioned it. But I don't really care about other personalities, to be honest with you. I mean, I barely care about myself as a personality. One other thing I'll mention. So this is a really good video on... There's a few... really so many things I should be mentioning, but...
Hello everybody, my name is Brendan Lee.
Brendan had an awesome video. You should go check us out on the Bitcoin SV channel, data storage and its application in Bitcoin. I hope you do a lot more of these, Brendan, if you watch this. Very well done. Last thing is, I hope you guys have seen this. Also, I think they did an interview on the Bitcoin SV channel. Agora, however you pronounce it. This is pretty sweet. They've created, so I think I actually go to their website. I mean, they're pretty much creating the portal to MetaNet, and it's all going to be on chain soon. Not currently, but it will be. It's really sweet. So definitely check this out. Yeah, that's all I have. Anyone else? If you guys have anything you want me to talk about, you can put it in there. I'll maybe rant about it. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna shut this down and figure it out. There's a few other things. I mean, so many things I want to do. It's just there's not much time in the day. Very last thing I'll mention is that we've gotten a lot of. To go back to this exchange thing, I meant to bring this up. We've gotten so many DMs from exchanges to collaborate, sponsor us, or whatever. And I've sent very, very strongly worded messages back each time about how stupid it is. But I want you guys to understand, I mean, that's what these exchanges are all about. So, I'm definitely a neutral party here. I'm not paid by anybody. But these exchanges, all these ones that everyone wants to be the new oligarchy. They want the exchanges to be the new central banks, and they don't see the irony in that. Boy, people, I'm sorry. I'm out of it. I'm out of it right now. Anything good to look at? Probably not. Probably not. Oh. There you go, Andreas. Interesting. Look on Google. Craig is there. I mean, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean, look on Google? What? Google Craig Wright? I can Google Craig Wright. CCN.com. Craig Wright's a list of Bitcoin addresses. Huh. CCN interesting. CCN doesn't check their facts. I know that. So. Oh boy, I hate the crypto. Honestly, I just hate the cryptocurrency community. I hate all of it. I hate every single one of them. It just bothers me. It really just, I'm just kind of like checked out on being a part of all this drama. It's the reason why I don't do news and stuff. It's so stupid. Everyone is just so stupid. I'm willing to invite people on and do debates. I'm willing to actually do that. But I'm just so done with all these. It's just too much for me. I mean, the fact that these people are in a job is just so crazy to me. I'm not seeing anything to look at as usual. Nothing really interesting ever. So, cool. Well, thanks guys. So, if there's nothing else you want me to rant about, I'm probably going to turn this off. Let me see if there's anything else in this court stuff I wanted to mention. I haven't caught up on the newest court stuff, so let's see. Oh man, I encourage you guys to. I mean, this stuff's entertaining. at the expense of Craig Wright, unfortunately. It's very entertaining. I feel bad that anyone has to go through this stuff, but something else I'll talk about. This is actually another inside scoop. So, you know, I could pick on some more people, but I'm not going to for now. You know, a lot of people were like making fun of the fact that Craig said it was unduly burdensome to disclose all of his public addresses. Now, of course, Craig's in his own legal battle, so I don't know. Maybe he should be compelled. So Craig should be compelled to provide a list of the Bitcoin he owned as of December 31st, 2013. I got to read all this. This will be an interesting rebuttal or whatever this is. I know a few people by name. I actually would love to have them on, but I think they will not do this until they're through. That are under tax audit. Early Bitcoin miners, things like that. They are getting. They are essentially being required to disclose every address that they own under the argument that it's property, essentially, and it must be disclosed. Now, unduly burdensome does not mean, I can go into my wallet and, copy paste all my addresses. That's not the point. The point is that it's an overreach of it's definitely the tax office here in America, in my opinion. But Canada pretty much was the first to start with this, and U.S. is following suit. So it's really something to keep an eye on. It's kind of scary, in my opinion. I think it's going to be interesting how it plays out. I don't think that should be, I don't think that should be required by anybody. I think that's ridiculous. But a lot of people are fighting that today with certain tax offices. So I just thought I'd bring that up. It's kind of scary in my opinion, and it plays into what this court is ordering as well, or what they're trying to get them to order. The plaintiffs are trying to get them to order. Wow, this is interesting. So yeah, barely identified redacted percentage of the Bitcoins at issue in this dispute. So this is what I don't understand. Man, look at this. All this stuff's redacted. If Greg Maxwell could unredact this stuff, that'd be pretty cool. But I'll say that with stipulation. I think it's, well, it's unfortunate, but it's a public court case, so, I'm going to look into it. The other thing is that if I don't look into this, you're just going to read headlines, and the BS is going to be spewed when, anyway. Wow, this is interesting. I mean, this is the problem: is that the more you read this, it's very straightforward that he is, the guy who was involved with this in the beginning. It's now an argument over how much he owns, and people are, again, the goalposts will be moved. They'll just say he's not Satoshi. So give us the link so we can read too. Yeah, here you go. Here you go, buddy. And if you just hit, or I guess if I hit back, that's the court doc. Attachments. Always love the attachments. Filed under seal. Damn. Filed under seal. Damn. Huh. Cool. All right. I'm sorry. I'm not providing nothing of value. I'm just turning into what I hate. So, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. And yeah. Oh, and someone said, "Where's Corey?" Corey is. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what's going on, but he's just busy. So that's all there is to it. But he will be back one day. But busy guys, so life gets in the way. You know how it is. Very good. As I mentioned, if anyone is going to CoinGeek, now let's put it this way. If anyone is going to CoinGeek, maybe message me. And maybe if you're interested in like doing that same role, maybe we could figure something out. I think getting those interviews are valuable. Obviously, I'm not just going to let anyone do this, but if someone is like thinks that they are up for it, I think getting those interviews would be valuable. Otherwise, if you're in Bogota in June, let me know. All right, I'm done. Thanks.